Hello. In this lesson, we will be learning about how to work with input fields in a web page. There are different types of input fields available, such as text fields, text areas, drop downs, checkboxes, and radio buttons. These different types of input fields are used for different scenarios. To capture textual values, the small ones like your name or something, you can use text fields. If you want to input some description like large paragraphs, then you can use text areas. And drop downs, when you have to select multiple values, again checkboxes. And radio buttons to select single value out of multiple values. So when you're automating test scripts, when you're automating manual testing, you have to know how to locate these input fields, how to pass values, how to set or reset values which are given. So in these exercises we will see how we can do this. To carry out these exercises, I will be using this URL. This has different types of examples given, or else you can find any web URL where you can see where you can interact with checkboxes, radio buttons, text areas, or anything. So in this URL you can see we have checkboxes. In the first example we will see how to work with checkboxes. In here I will be using these three checkboxes. In previous lessons we learned how to locate them, how to locate these checkboxes, how to locate any web element using Firepath. So I will enable the Firepath, and from the element inspector you can simply get the Firepath, right? So let me go back to the code and see how we can access this. The first example would be identifying the number of checkboxes available in a given web page. So this is a script that we have written to identify the number of checkboxes available. You can see it's same like that we did in previous lessons. You create the class working with checkboxes, and you create the main method, and you use the Firefox web browser, and you give the URL, which is the same URL that I just showed you, and you give the checkboxes link, the XPath where the checkboxes are available. You can see now in here we have used a new term called list. Whenever an XPath returns more than one value, we can use the list web element option. It keeps the multiple values which are returned from XPath. So in this scenario we wanted to get the number of checkboxes available, so I'm introducing int data type count variable and passing that list to this, and I'm getting the size. And I'm also, to make sure the size, to see the size, I'm printing the size using the system out println command. So now if I run this script, I should get the 3 as an output, as the output in console. Let me run this and show you. It's navigating to the URL. You can see it's the same URL that I have just showed you. When you're working in manual test scenarios, you know where these web elements are, and you can go and click them manually. You can see and count them. But in automation, it's no human interaction. So you should know how to locate them, how to get the count, to see the values and read the values. So there are 3 values available. You can see milk, butter, and cheese. And if you go to console, you can see the value has been printed as 3. In the next example we will see how to get the values, how to print the values. In here you can see the values are milk, butter, and cheese, but you're automating, you don't know what are the values available. So if there are 100 of values, if there are multiple values, you should know what are the variables, what are the options given. So in the next example we will see how we can do that. Okay, it's the same test script, but I have added one more line. Once we get the count, I have introduced a for loop which iterates 3 times, because we have 3 components. Last time we checked we have 3, and it iterates the number of components available and it prints the value. You can use the get attribute option to print the value. This will print the value. This will go to each checkbox in iteration and it will print the value in the console. So if we run this script, you should get the milk, butter and cheese value printed in the console. Let me run this and show you how this works. It goes to the URL, and with the given XPath it locates where the checkboxes are, and you get 3 as the number of checkboxes, and it iterates 3 times, and at the end it prints the value of each checkbox. It's done. If you go to console, you can see the values have been printed: milk, butter and cheese. Now you know how to get the count and how to get the values, but we still don't know how to pass an input, how to click on a checkbox. In the next example we will see how to click on given checkbox. I have introduced one single term to initiate the click. In here we are going to the URL, and in this line we are assigning the values to the list web element, and we are getting the size, and we are using a for loop to loop 3 times, and inside the loop I have introduced the click simulation. It will, inside the loop, in each iteration it will click each and every checkbox. In this scenario has been created to check or rather click each and every checkbox available, but if you want, you can simulate the click on a specific checkbox as well. In order to make sure that values has been clicked, I am printing the value clicked on. I'm getting the value here, which checkbox that I have clicked, and it's here, it's printing the value. So it should print that I have clicked on milk, clicked on butter, clicked on cheese. Let me demonstrate that to you. Oh, it's going to the URL like the previous time. It's still loading. This may take some time depending on your internet connection. Now you can see previously only butter option was clicked, now milk and cheese clicked. So if you go to console, we can see clicked on milk, clicked on butter, clicked on cheese. We can add something value added to this. As an example, we can add some value added to this. In previous example we initiate the click, but before initiating the click we can check if the values has been already clicked or not. Let's say that we have to give an input for a particular checkbox, but we should make sure before giving the input whether it's already checked or not. This scenario will simulate that. You can see we are getting the count, the number of checkboxes, and we are looping. And in here we have used an if condition. In the if condition we are checking if the particular attribute is checked. If it is checked, if it is not equal to checked, that means it's not checked, then we print the value is checked, and if the value is not checked, then we are printing the value is not checked. From this we can clearly identify which are the default values which has been clicked in the given web page. In some scenarios, you give multiple checkboxes, but you put a default value in the web page. So when you're automating, you should know what are the default values has been clicked. So this scenario will simulate that. Let me run this and show you how this works. It goes to the URL. Let me run this. Goes to the URL, and by default the middle one, the milk, was checked, so they should print the milk was checked by default, and rest of the two values has not been checked. That should be the console output. Still running. Yeah, you get the console output in here. You can say milk is not checked, butter is checked, and cheese is not checked. By getting this kind of values, we can assign them into a variable and see what are the values has been checked and not. So now in this exercise we have covered how to locate the checkboxes, how to get the print of the values, how to get the values, how to get the count, and check the checkboxes and uncheck them. So I hope this will be useful when you are automating your test scripts, whenever you have to interact with the checkboxes. So please post if there are any forums, if there are any queries and any clarifications. If you need, please use the forum to communicate with each other. We will always be supporting to your queries. Thank you and good luck.